A new day begins at the Explorer Academy. A young man proudly shows off his new mark. His friend looks on with an impressed, nervous smile. The blonde boy, Guy, pulls him into a friendly embrace, but his words are a cruel, condescending whisper. The friendly facade shatters in an instant. He reflects on how dungeons and levels change the world, creating a system where he is the ultimate target. Suddenly, a voice cuts through his thoughts. It's Guy, mocking him in front of the entire class. Our boy can only offer a weak, hopeful smile. He's relentlessly reminded of his status, level 0. He clings to the hope that things might change, but his optimism only fuels Guy's anger. This isn't the first time he's faced this torment. His entire life has been defined by that single number. He came to this new school hoping for a fresh start, but his old bully, Guy, somehow followed him here. And just like that, his secret was out. A blimp overhead announces the daily rankings, a list of the top 100 explorers, the heroes of their age. He dreams of joining them, but knows no one would accept him. Suddenly, the crowd's attention is pulled away. A figure of impossible grace walks past them. Everyone is left completely stunned. It's the school's strongest student, also named Hinata, an S-rank prodigy, already a legend in these halls. She's the heir to the powerful Kamui family. The bell rings and it's time for class introductions. And our boy realizes the prodigy is his new desk mate. No pressure. He can feel the daggers being stared into the back of his head. The teacher calls on the next student for their introduction. She stands, her voice calm and clear. Kamui Hinata. The entire class is left speechless by her simple, powerful presence. A few students whisper, wondering if that's all she'll say. The teacher, slightly flustered, quickly moves things along. It's our boy's turn and he blurts out his name. Suzuki Hinata. The classroom erupts. Another Hinata? What are the odds? He nervously explains the unfortunate coincidence of sharing her name. Kamui Hinata offers only a cold, silent stare in return. Later that day, the students arrive at their new home. He looks up at the imposing dorm building. A fresh start. A voice calls out his full name, Suzuki Hinata. He turns to meet the dorm mother, a woman named Cheyion. She hands him a rule book, stressing its importance. He can't help but notice the charming, handmade illustrations inside. With the rules in hand, he heads inside to find his room. He suddenly remembers the welcome party for new residents. The scene shifts to the lively dorm cafeteria. A cheerful girl at his table suggests they form a party. She and another boy agree since their ranks are close. The girl then turns to him, finally noticing his presence. He introduces himself and quietly admits he's an F rank. The entire table freezes, the cheerful atmosphere gone. The girl apologizes, saying it's rare to meet a non-explorer here. He's confused. This is an academy for explorers, after all. He wonders how he was even accepted with such a low rank. He sips his drink, his gloved hand hiding his true mark. The world's ranking system is explained, from S down to F. The girl tries to be encouraging, but her words only startle him. The girl explains that low potential doesn't mean you're weak. She stresses that rank is just a measure of what's possible. But Hinata realizes the level gap is the true barrier to strength. The other boy offers some hollow encouragement about hard work. But the girl immediately adds she's never heard of an F rank succeeding. Hinata is forced to confront the harsh reality of his situation. He's not just F rank, he's the infamous level 0. Back in his room, he collapses onto his bed, utterly defeated. A message from his sister pops up, full of hope for her own future. He can't bear it, having told her not to contact him for a while. He remembers why he came here, to provide for his family. But at this rate, that dream is completely out of reach. A fire suddenly ignites in his eyes. He sits up, a new resolve washing over him. He can't face his sister as a failure. He has to try something. Clenching his phone, he refuses to let his future be decided for him. His gaze is sharp, his determination absolute. And so, Suzuki Hinata arrives at the entrance of an E-rank dungeon. The dorm mother, Cheyion, had shown him the closest one for beginners. She'd warned him to be careful, that an explorer's life is precious, a promise he made with a confident smile. He steps into the dungeon's reception area, but the front desk is completely deserted. Suddenly, a figure pops up from below the counter, startling him. A flustered receptionist welcomes him, asking if it's his first time. She recognizes his school uniform and prepares to issue a license. But she immediately panics, unable to find the required items. She asks him to wait, clearly having a very normal one at work. His attention is drawn to a single white orb on the counter, a crystal that measures potential, changing color based on one's rank. He decides to test the crystal, just to see it one more time. The moment his gloved hand makes contact, the orb turns pitch black. Hinata stares, his expression grim and unchanging. Potential is ranked by color, but black is the absence of any color at all. This is the very definition of level 0, a complete lack of ability. He feels himself being swallowed by a familiar, suffocating despair. A single thought echoes in the darkness. Why only me? Suddenly a voice cuts through his bleak thoughts, startling him. The receptionist is back, cheerfully announcing she's ready. Talk about bad timing. She looks around the empty lobby, wondering where her customer went. With a sigh, she assumes he simply got tired of waiting and left. But Hinata is actually falling, pulled down by shadowy tendrils. The floor beneath him has become a gateway to a dark abyss. He plummets through the endless, terrifying void. Completely disoriented, he tumbles through the darkness. He lands hard on a solid surface, the fall finally ending. He finds his footing, confused but relieved to be on solid ground. But all he can see around him is absolute, impenetrable darkness. In the distance, a massive, ominous castle is silhouetted against the stars. A system message suddenly appears. He's acquired the skill Dungeon Information. The skill immediately identifies his location, Lucifano's fallen heaven. He's trapped inside a dungeon, one with a terrifyingly grand name. Another alert rings in his mind. He's gained Perimeter Scan. But the new skill is accompanied by a splitting headache. He clutches his head, overwhelmed by a powerful mental assault. As he collapses, the system grants him abnormal status resistance. The pain is immense, but his new skill is already evolving to a higher level. He reaches out a hand into the darkness, pleading for help. The skill continues to evolve at an impossible rate, reaching its final form. A status window confirms it. He now possesses abnormal status nullification. His eyes snap open, wide with shock and confusion. He finds himself lying on his bed, back in his dorm room. He sits up, wondering if the entire ordeal was just a dream. He's relieved, thinking he just passed out in the dungeon. But as he tries to stand, he realizes he's on the hard ground. The grim reality sets in. He's still trapped in the dungeon. He tries to recall what happened, the voice, the skills. It all felt so real. Another system window appears, granting him the skill list ability. So much for it being a dream. He stares at the list, confused as to why he's getting skills for free. Deciding to focus on survival, he resolves to find an exit. His perimeter scan skill proves incredibly useful, acting as a mental map. He realizes the air is toxic, and his nullification skill is the only thing keeping him alive. He looks out into the darkness, the distant castle barely visible. Suddenly he acquires dark vision, and the forest lights up before him. The universe is just handing out cheat codes now. He remembers reading about traps, but figures an E-rank dungeon can't be that bad. His search leads him to a small, dark pool of water. Overjoyed, he rushes towards the potential life-saving discovery. Even with hunger resistance, his throat is parched, so he dips his hands in. He scoops up the liquid, noting its strange color but dismissing it. Without a second thought, he takes a massive gulp. The taste is horrific, a decision he immediately and profoundly regrets. A system alert informs him his stamina recovery skill has evolved due to danger. He looks around, wondering where the danger is. A monster, perhaps? But his perimeter scan shows nothing nearby. He looks back at the pool, a terrible thought crossing his mind. He tests his theory, tossing a handful of the liquid onto the grass. The ground sizzles and melts. He just drank a pool of potent poison. He realizes his nullification skill saved him again, vowing to be more careful. He stands alone, surrounded by the imposing silent trees. Ahead of him lies a massive cliff face, his next daunting obstacle. He's been wandering for what feels like an eternity, the exit nowhere in sight. It dawns on him that he never got his license. He's technically trespassing. Suddenly, a jolt of pure terror runs down his spine. He feels an overwhelming pressure, a suffocating presence in the air. His instincts scream that something is very, very close. He braces himself, expecting the dungeon's first monster. But what he sees is far beyond his worst nightmares. A colossal beast emerges, its maw filled with countless teeth. So much for the E-rank welcome basket. He can't believe his eyes. This is no ordinary dungeon creature. The monster lets out a low, guttural growl that shakes the very ground. He was expecting a goblin or a slime, not a walking apocalypse. He wonders if this is the floor boss or something far more irregular. His only hope is to stay perfectly still and pray it moves on. But a single careless step shatters the silence. The beast's reptilian eye snaps directly towards the sound. Hinata freezes, a silent "uh-oh" written all over his face. With a terrifying roar, the monster lunges forward to attack. He turns and runs, pure adrenaline coursing through his veins. The ground trembles with every step of the pursuing behemoth. He screams that he gets it. This is a very, very bad situation. And right on cue, the system grants him the speed boost skill. The imminent danger immediately begins to evolve his new ability. His speed increases, the skill leveling up to its medium stage. He's now fast enough to run straight up the sheer cliff face. The beast can only roar in frustration, unable to follow his escape, but it's not giving up, clawing desperately at the rock wall below him. The continued threat pushes his skill to evolve yet again, to large. He becomes a blur of motion, a streak of pure speed. He lands safely on the ground, far from the cliff's edge. And just for good measure, the skill evolves one last time to extra large. He moves so fast he's just a blur against the trees. A system window confirms his skill has evolved to its absolute peak. With this newfound power, he tears through the dark forest. He finally stops, catching his breath, thinking he's safe. But he realizes that speed means nothing if he's still lost. He bursts through the undergrowth into a clearing, and finds his pursuer was waiting for him the whole time. The beast's eyes glow with an unholy predatory light. Hinata is out of breath and completely out of options, but despair quickly turns into a desperate resolve. He realizes that running is pointless. Fighting might be the only way. Gritting his teeth, he decides to bet everything on this one chance. With a defiant roar, he charges straight at the monster, aiming for the one place no sane person would ever go. A decision he immediately realizes was a terrible, terrible mistake. The beast leaps into the air, ready to crush him completely. It slams into the ground with devastating force, but Hinata uses his speed to slide right under the attack. He barely escapes, clutching a fresh wound on his arm. He twists through the air, dodging another deadly swipe. He lands hard, the relentless chase taking its toll. His stamina is completely drained, he can't run much longer. But the system provides, granting him a stamina boost skill. The monster lets out another earth-shaking roar, but it hesitates, and Hinata wonders why it stopped its attack. He looks down, realizing he's standing on the edge of something. It's the same pool of deadly poison from before. A dangerous, brilliant idea begins to form in his mind. He plunges his hands directly into the toxic liquid. Holding the poison, he prepares to turn the tables on the beast. Hinata stands his ground, facing the colossal beast. His hands are now coated in the deadly liquid. A wild, desperate grin spreads across his face. The monster seems to recoil, sensing the danger. With a defiant yell, he hurls the poison forward. The toxic liquid splashes across the beast's hide. He lands, realizing his gamble paid off. It's afraid. But the monster ignores him, charging for the pool instead. It seems the beast really doesn't like his new cologne. Its massive claw descends, aiming to destroy the source. The attack misses, and the monster plunges into the pool. It thrashes wildly, now completely submerged in the poison. Hinata lets out a final, determined battle cry. The beast is suddenly engulfed in searing flames. Hinata can only stare, stunned by his own victory. He recalls a guide saying monsters are defeated when you least expect it. He tosses the last of the liquid, confirming its potency. A small, triumphant smile crosses his lips. He realizes the monster's remains could be useful, and the system grants him monster dismantling. The universe's skill delivery service is working overtime. He checks his status, seeing it's an active skill. It appears on his list, ready to be used. He reviews his impressive list of passive skills. With a dramatic pose, he decides to test his new ability. A cloud of dust erupts from the massive corpse. The monster is instantly broken down into neat piles of resources. Hinata is ecstatic at the mountain of materials he's acquired. He examines the perfectly harvested bones, and the thick, durable hide stacked beside them. But then he notices something else among the spoils. He holds a massive magic stone, far larger than any E-rank drop. He knows this stone is valuable, a key component for magic items. But a new problem arises: how to carry this mountain of loot home. He daydreams about a magic backpack, a skill for infinite storage. A hopeful glimmer appears in his eyes at the very thought. He muses on how much he'd love a skill like that. But his hope quickly fades, dismissing it as an impossible wish, and the universe immediately grants him spatial storage. Ask and you shall receive, I guess. With his new power, he looks out at the dark, imposing forest. He pulls up his new inventory, seeing all his items neatly listed. To test it, he summons a massive bone from thin air with a grin. He sends it back in an instant, amazed by the convenience. He then tries to store the poison water, a new experiment in mind. But the skill fails, leaving him to wonder about its limitations. Deciding not to dwell on it, he resolves to press onward. He stands at the edge of the clearing, ready to venture deeper. His face is grim, the battle having taken its toll. But from the darkness, another pair of eyes watches him. Hinata looks up, a sudden chill running down his spine. He thinks back on the monster he just managed to defeat. but a harsh realization begins to dawn on him. The cruel words of his bully echo in his mind. 0 is still 0. Despite his victory, a familiar despair washes over him. A system message confirms his worst fear. His level is still 0. He continues on, spotting what looks like a small rabbit monster, but as he steps forward, his foot catches on something unseen. He cries out in pain, realizing he's made another mistake. A pack of small, spiky creatures suddenly appears before him. The system announces he's acquired trap detection and nullification. So that's what he stepped on. The creatures don't wait, lunging forward in a unified, speedy assault. The small creatures swarm him from all sides. He dodges a sharp, lightning-fast attack, and then another with surprising ease. He realizes they're actually incredibly slow. At least, compared to the last monster he fought. Thanks to his speed boost skill, the world around him has slowed to a crawl. His perception of time has completely changed. He can see that their attacks are full of openings. With a determined clench of his fist, he prepares to fight back. He lands his first solid punch on one of the creatures. But his speed is high, not his strength. The attack barely registers. He throws another punch, trying to find a weak spot. And another, connecting squarely with its face. But the creature is completely unfazed by the blows. Hinata lets out a frustrated roar, putting his all into it. And the system rewards his effort with bare-handed combat enhancement. Of course it does. His next punch sends the monster flying into a rock wall. He looks at his fist, ecstatic that he can earn skills through effort. He easily dispatches another one of the spiky attackers, and then another, his confidence growing with each strike. His new skill immediately evolves into martial arts. This kid's learning curve is a vertical line. A much larger version of the creature leaps down to attack, but his body moves on its own, unlocking emergency evasion. The system also throws in fear and pressure resistance for good measure. His level may not be rising, but he's grateful for the new skills. He knows if he struggles here, he'll be useless in a real party, and he refuses to let that future come to pass. He resolves to gain as many skills as he possibly can. He roars, ready to make every second of this ordeal count. He sends the last of the creatures flying off the cliffside. The battle is over, leaving only the silent, starry sky. He checks his inventory, now full of bones, hides, and magic stones. He examines one of the stones, realizing it's far bigger than normal. For now, he'll focus on one thing: getting this treasure home. He stands alone in the vast, desolate landscape of the dungeon. His eyes are once again drawn to the ominous castle in the distance. With his loot secured, Hinata continues his search for a way out. Suddenly, he spots a glimmer of light in the distance. Hope surges through him as he sprints towards the dungeon's exit. This was his first dungeon, his first real test as an explorer. He takes a final step, leaving the suffocating darkness behind. He'd faced his first monster, a beast of impossible scale, and for the first time, he felt a surge of genuine accomplishment. The world rushes back in a blinding flash of white. He finds himself back in the reception area, facing the clerk. She can only stare, shocked by his sudden battered appearance. A loud crash echoes through the otherwise silent lobby. Hinata is completely bewildered by the sudden commotion. The receptionist has fallen out of her chair, asking if he's all right. She then scolds him for startling her. Apparently, silent entrances are rude. She recognizes him as the student from the day before. Hinata is stunned. He's been trapped in that place for a full day. The receptionist is just impressed he's alive, asking his next move. She points out he still needs a license and highly recommends it. He meekly agrees, earning a very unimpressed look in return. She presents a large, ornate book instructing him to place his hand inside. Worn but resolute, Hinata reaches forward to complete the registration. His eyes are steady, ready to finally get his official start, but the receptionist's face contorts in utter disbelief. She leans in, asking what in the world she's looking at. Hinata calmly explains that he was born a level 0. Her brain seems to short-circuit at this revelation. Her shriek echoes through the building, startling passers-by. She immediately apologizes for losing her composure. The mark on his hand confirms the impossible truth. He reasons that even without levels, he can still make a living. It's all for his family, to give his sister a better life. With a smile, she congratulates him on becoming an official explorer. He accepts his new license with a grateful, determined look. Just then, the daily rankings blimp makes a shocking announcement. A new number 1 has appeared with an unprecedented score. Hinata daydreams about seeing his own name up there one day. But for now, he'd settle for just a stable, quiet life. Elsewhere, his old bully Guy stares at the news with a grim look. The S-rank prodigy, Kamui Hinata, seems intrigued by the news. The world is indeed about to change because of him. But for now, only one person suspects the truth. And our boy, the mysterious unknown, just smiles. With his license secured, Hinata heads to the buyback center. He places his massive magic stone on the appraisal machine. But the system returns an error. Appraisal impossible. He wonders what that could possibly mean. This is getting ridiculous. The machine directs him to a special counter for rare items. He tries the monster bones next, with the exact same result. Then the hide, also unidentifiable. It seems none of his loot is from a registered monster. He concludes the only logical explanation is that the machine is broken. He tries one last item, a small stone from the lesser creatures. The machine lights up, offering him a staggering 300,000 yen. He can't believe a simple rabbit monster dropped a valuable magic stone. He decides to sell just one, not wanting to attract unwanted attention. With his first sale complete, he heads back to the dorms, utterly exhausted. As he arrives, he's spotted by a familiar, surprised face. It's the dorm mother, Cheyion, welcoming him back. He quickly apologizes for his day-long absence, explaining his dungeon trip. She gently reminds him of her warning, to value his life above all else. He asks if she believes his story, and she offers a simple, reassuring smile. Hinata is taken aback by her immediate, unwavering trust. She then notices his filthy uniform with a weary sigh. She calls out his name, getting his full attention. And with a warm smile, she congratulates him on becoming an explorer. Her words hit him with an unexpected, powerful force. A genuine, heartfelt smile breaks through his exhaustion and grime. Overwhelmed with gratitude, he can only offer a deep, sincere bow. It's finally real. Suzuki Hinata is officially an explorer. His first order of business is to deal with his battle-worn clothes. He reflects on Kiyono's kindness, a welcome change of pace. But his quiet moment is interrupted by another student in the laundry room. The boy offers some friendly encouragement about getting used to the mess. He introduces himself as Fuji Hiroto, a fellow dorm resident. With introductions made, the epic battle against dungeon grime begins. Fuji asks which dungeon he tackled for his first run. He's surprised, noting most beginners aim for D-rank dungeons first. Hinata laughs it off, explaining he didn't exactly have a choice in the matter. The revelation that he went alone leaves Fuji completely stunned. Hinata just smiles sheepishly, agreeing to be more careful next time. Fuji then offers to team up, a gesture of genuine kindness. Hinata is touched, hoping he can one day be a useful ally in return. The school bell rings, signaling the start of another day at the academy. At his desk, Hinata sighs with relief as another school day ends. But his peace is shattered by a familiar, menacing voice. "Hey, Level 0. He turns with a strained smile, trying to play it cool with Guy. Guy tells him he needs to borrow his face for a moment. Knowing he has no choice, Hinata can only offer a weak agreement. He reflects on their shared past. Guy has been his tormentor for years. For Hinata, his old bully was the very symbol of fear. But now, thanks to his new resistance skills, that fear is gone. He clenches his fist, believing his hard work might finally pay off. Guy leads him away from the classroom, ready to start the usual routine. A cruel, confident grin spreads across the bully's face. He throws a punch, aiming to put Hinata back in his place. Hinata watches the fist fly towards him, his eyes wide. But thanks to his speed boost, the attack seems to move in slow motion. He dodges with impossible ease, leaving Guy completely stunned. Hinata slips past him without a single scratch. Guy roars in frustration, unable to comprehend what just happened. He remembers a time when that same punch would have been terrifying. Hinata realizes the dungeon monsters were actually stronger than this guy. The bully is left speechless by this sudden shift in power. With a new resolve, Hinata prepares a counterattack of his own. He feels a strange power gathering in his hand, a feeling of certainty. A powerful gust of wind erupts from his simple hand chop. Guy is blown backward, completely caught off guard by the attack, and the system grants Hinata cold air resistance. From his own attack? Sure, why not? Suddenly, a voice commands them to stop. It's Kamui Hinata, the S-rank prodigy, and she does not look pleased. Guy tries to stand his ground, telling her to mind her own business. But her cold, simple command silences him instantly. He freezes, sweating under the weight of her immense pressure. Guy retreats, vowing that Hinata will pay for this humiliation. Hinata is left stunned, realizing this is the true power of an S-rank. He turns to thank his unexpected savior for the intervention. But Kamui Hinata only offers a cold, piercing glare in return. He panics, wondering if he somehow offended her. A memory of his sister's advice on complicated girls echoes in his mind. He tries to break the tension with a nervous, hopeful smile, and is immediately met with a full-blown ice attack. Well, that escalated quickly. The ground beneath him instantly freezes over in a sheet of ice. Sharp icicles erupt from the walls, covering the entire hallway. The system grants him freezing resistance. Another day, another life-saving skill. He can't understand why she's suddenly trying to kill him. Her face is hidden as she speaks, her intentions a complete mystery. Hinata's expression hardens with a grim, desperate resolve. His only thought is to escape the suffocating, deadly cold. He doesn't know why this is happening, but he knows he has to run. With no other choice, he prepares to defend himself. With a desperate cry, he dodges her relentless assault. He pushes past her, trying to find an opening to escape. His hand makes contact with her arm as he slips by. And just like that, the S-rank prodigy bursts into tears. Hinata freezes, completely baffled by this sudden turn of events. She collapses to the floor, apologizing over and over again. She explains through sobs that she was just too scared to hold back. Our boy is left speechless, trying to process the emotional whiplash. But in her mind, Kamui knows the truth. This boy is not normal. She recalls his smile, convinced he's been hiding his true power. She believes that no one else, not even the teachers, has noticed. She's been watching him ever since Guy first called him out, wondering how a level 0 could stand up to a monster like that. She was convinced he was about to finish Guy for good. Her fear had triggered her S-rank ability, the Ice God's Protection. A power that constantly emits a deadly freezing aura, one she can barely control, where a single lapse means disaster. But Hinata had treated her lethal attack like it was nothing. In her mind, he was the true monster in this hallway. A primal fear of death had completely taken over. She had no idea how to handle a threat of his magnitude, and so the S-rank prodigy is reduced to a sobbing mess on the floor. Hinata, meanwhile, is trying to solve a puzzle with all the wrong pieces. Through her tears, she explains her power activated by mistake. He completely misreads the room, thinking she was scared for him. She continues to apologize, lost in her own misunderstanding. Hinata is left blushing and utterly flustered by the situation. He instinctively reaches out a hand to comfort her, awkwardly patting the head of the school's strongest student. He offers her a handkerchief, a simple act of kindness. Kamui can only stare, completely taken aback by the gesture. Hinata apologizes profusely, taking all the blame on himself. He stammers, trying to find the right words to say. He offers to do anything to repay her for saving him. Her expression shifts, a new idea sparking in her mind. She quickly adds a condition, within reason, much to his surprise. Kamui looks at him, her mind racing with possibilities. She can't understand why this powerful boy is being so kind. She asks if he's truly serious about his offer. He confirms with a vigorous, almost comical headshake. She clutches the handkerchief, a deep blush spreading across her face. With a newfound resolve, she asks if she can request a favor. Hinata is shocked, still unable to believe he could be of any use to her. Kamui considers his offer with a thoughtful, serious expression. His sister's voice echoes in his mind, a simple rule: grant a girl's every wish. And so, for Kamui's sake, he helps the S-rank prodigy to her feet. The next day, life at the academy continues as usual. But now, Hinata finds himself walking alongside the school's strongest student. Elsewhere, another student smugly identifies her infamous Ice God's Protection. Kamui reflects on how her stoicism is a cage to contain her immense power. Hinata, however, just thinks she's a normal girl who's scared of bullies. Bless his heart, he's trying. He suddenly stops, a wave of social anxiety hitting him all at once. He awkwardly announces he's heading to the dorms and makes a hasty retreat. Kamui offers a small, knowing smile, simply telling him she'll see him later. Her gentle response leaves Hinata completely stunned, but his sister's voice returns to scold him for leaving a girl alone. He looks back, realizing he's probably broken some sacred social contract. Later, he's still agonizing over it, completely lost on what he should have done. He laments that he has zero experience talking to girls other than his sister. Suddenly, a cheerful voice calls his name, startling him from his thoughts. A red-haired student asks if they can sit with him, catching him mid-bite. Hinata can only offer a flustered, nervous agreement. He's then left speechless by the mountain of food his new companion ordered. As they happily dig in, Hinata wonders where it's all going to fit. The student just continues to eat, cheeks puffed out like a chipmunk. Fuji joins them, thinking the red-haired student is like a small, cute animal. The student immediately calls him out, complaining about being seen as unmanly. They then ask Fuji why he looks so troubled. Fuji can only sigh, admitting to himself that he just doesn't understand girls. Hinata explains he was just walking with Kamui, since they live in the same dorms. He then starts quoting his sister's advice about being a gentleman. The red-haired student bursts out laughing, asking if he's doing an impression. They point out that his sister's advice is valid, but only from his own point of view. The advice hits Hinata like a lightning bolt. It's not about his rules. He panics, realizing he's been making this all about himself. His new friend offers a simple solution. Just ask her. Hinata learns that a woman's heart is, in fact, a complex thing. The friend jokes about meeting his sister, but Hinata is not amused. The next day, a new challenge awaits at the academy. Hinata finds himself in a private training hall with Kamui. He smiles, ready to help her with the favor she requested. Kamui accepts with a sharp, determined cry. She closes her eyes and a familiar, deadly aura begins to build. She struggles to contain the immense power within her. A wave of pure ice energy erupts, filling the entire room. Hinata braces for impact, certain this is the end for him. But Kamui cries out in shock, having lost control once again. She looks on, confused as to why he's still standing there. Unharmed, with a grim look, she decides this is exactly what she needs. She clenches her fist, determined to conquer her own power. Her goal is clear, to finally master the ice god's protection. And to do that, she needs him to push her even further. Hinata is left completely dumbfounded by her request for more. She demands that he stare at her, leaving him utterly speechless. This is not the training regimen he was expecting. He finally understands this was the favor she wanted to ask. Elsewhere, Guy seethes, blaming Hinata for Kamui's instability. Back in the hall, Hinata agrees to her strange request. He believes this is the only way he can truly help her. Kamui watches him, her eyes filled with a new resolve. Hinata steels himself, ready to face whatever comes next. She believes he is the key to helping her overcome this weakness. She asks why he's hesitating, leaving him a flustered, blushing mess. With a look of grim determination, Hinata prepares for the task ahead. Kamui grits her teeth, struggling against her own power. Hinata focuses his gaze just as she asked. Her eyes narrow, her concentration absolute. She pushes herself harder, trying to contain the energy. But once again, the power bursts forth uncontrollably. She's sent flying, overwhelmed by the backlash. Hinata rushes to her side, asking if she's all right. She looks up, wondering if he's somehow gotten stronger. He denies it, completely unaware of his own growth. After all, his level is still stuck at a firm 0. She apologizes for crying, but he insists it's his fault. She asks why he's being so kind to someone like her. The question leaves Hinata a blushing, stammering mess. He explains that it's his duty to take responsibility. Besides, his sister would never let him hear the end of it. The mention of his sister seems to break the tension. With a genuine smile, she notes how expressive she's become. He finds himself admiring her resolve to face her fears. Meanwhile, their training has left a bit of a mess. They step out into the aftermath of her power. The entire area is now a winter wonderland. Hinata wonders how they're going to clean this up. And the system provides, granting him ice fusion. Talk about convenient. He's shocked, thinking his own power is melting the ice. But Kamui explains her ice doesn't melt that easily. He can only conclude this is a gross abuse of power. He doesn't want her to get in trouble for this. With a new resolve, he decides to handle it himself. His skill immediately evolves into absolute 0. Kamui can only watch, puzzled by his sudden outburst. With a determined cry, Hinata prepares to unleash his new power. He activates absolute ice fusion, a skill he just invented, apparently. He stares in shock as the ice doesn't just melt, it vanishes. Kamui is left completely speechless by the impossible display. Hinata turns to her, relieved that she won't get in trouble now. She can only mutter in disbelief. Her world turned upside down. A new day begins, but things are no longer the same. Other students gossip as they see the ice princess walking with a boy. Hinata awkwardly apologizes for the unwanted attention. Kamui simply says goodbye, ready to part ways for the day. But Hinata panics, suddenly calling out her name. She turns back, her expression calm and questioning. Flustered, he offers to walk her home, trying to be a gentleman. He immediately backpedals, thinking he's overstepped his bounds. She asks why he'd want to, believing she's not fun to be around. He explains it's to prevent any more misunderstandings or trouble. With a bright smile, he says he wants to take full responsibility. His words hit her with the force of a physical blow. She's left flustered, unable to form a coherent thought. With a deep bow, she shyly accepts his offer. He then uses his skill to nullify her freezing aura. The universe's personal problem solver at your service. Kamui is completely overwhelmed by his kindness. She looks up, her face flushed as she whispers a thank you. Hinata is just as flustered, barely able to look at her. He stammers out a "you're welcome," the awkwardness palpable. And so, the two of them begin their walk home together. Kamui smiles, wondering what kind of person he truly is. Hinata, meanwhile, is just worried about what his sister would think. He offers his hand again, a simple kind gesture she accepts. Their destination is revealed, the grand estate of the Kamui family. Hinata is left wondering how his life took this particular turn. He's greeted by a woman who introduces herself as Kamui's mother, Irina. He stammers out his own name as Irina says she's heard all about him. Her demeanor shifts, accusing him of making her precious daughter cry, and just as quickly she invites him inside with a disarming smile. He steps into the vast, traditional estate of the Kamui family. He's led to a waiting room and offered a cup of tea. A maid informs him that the young lady will be with him shortly. Hinata feels completely out of his depth in this formal setting. He looks out into the garden and spots a lone figure sitting by the pond. Deciding to be polite, he offers a nervous, friendly greeting. The old man looks up, surprised that the boy could even sense his presence. Hinata just offers a sheepish smile, confirming that he did, and the system grants him stealth detection. Of course it does. The old man's gaze is intense, as if peering into his very soul. He suddenly smacks Hinata on the head for spacing out. The attack earns Hinata mind-reading resistance. Getting hit is just skill farming now. The old man seems impressed, noting that the boy is tougher than he looks. With a hearty laugh, he praises Hinata's sharp senses. Our boy, meanwhile, has absolutely no idea what is happening. Suddenly, the sound of hurried footsteps breaks the silence. Kamui appears, now dressed in a stunning traditional kimono. Hinata is left completely speechless by the sight of her. He can only blush, trying to find the right words to say. He blurts out that she looks absolutely incredible. His heartfelt compliment leaves Kamui flustered and overjoyed. The quiet sounds of the garden fill the momentary silence. The two of them sit together, the air thick with awkward tension. Hinata realizes they're sitting much closer than he's used to. He's so flustered he can barely breathe, overwhelmed by her presence. His body betrays him, a sudden and urgent need arising, and the system grants him waste decomposition. The universe really has a skill for everything. Irina returns, bowing deeply with a maid by her side. The three of them sit together as Hinata politely compliments the tea. But Irina's expression turns serious, announcing it's time to begin. Hinata is left completely bewildered by the sudden shift in tone. She presents a sleek black briefcase, opening it before him. Inside is a single ornate credit card from the Kamui Corporation. Irina offers it to him, a blank check for his troubles. Hinata's mind races, realizing this could solve all his family's problems. But Kamui objects, insisting this wasn't part of their agreement. Our boy can only stare, caught in the middle of a family drama. Kamui demands to know why, but her mother just smiles sweetly. In fact, Irina seems overjoyed, tears welling in her eyes. A reaction that leaves both teenagers completely stunned. She explains it's been years since her daughter has spoken to her like this. Kamui looks away, confirming the sad truth of their relationship. Hinata realizes her stoic persona isn't just for school. The weight of her lonely life hits him like a ton of bricks. Irina explains that Kamui trained tirelessly for this very moment. A fire ignites in Hinata's eyes, a new resolve taking hold. He admits to himself that he doesn't know her at all. Irina and the maid bow again, begging him to stay by her daughter's side. Hinata is completely overwhelmed by the sudden, heavy request. Kamui can only look down, unable to meet his gaze. Her mother explains that he is the only one who can nullify her power. Hinata listens, the full weight of the situation finally sinking in. He looks up, his expression now one of grim determination. Irina believes his presence is the key to her daughter's happiness. But Hinata interrupts, declaring he's not doing this for the money. He declares he'll do anything to support her hard work. And with that, he firmly rejects the family's money. He's doing this for her, a decision made of his own free will. Irina is left completely speechless by his noble declaration. She asks if this means he'll continue to be her daughter's friend. Hinata sheepishly agrees, as long as Kamui is okay with it. Irina immediately puts her daughter on the spot for an answer. But Kamui is too flustered to even form a sentence. This is all moving a bit fast for the Ice Princess. Overwhelmed, she bolts from the room, knocking over the table. Hinata immediately gives chase, calling out her name. The shattered teacup is a perfect metaphor for the room's tension. He panics, fearing her power will freeze the entire estate, and the system grants him absolute ice seal. Of course it does. He reaches out, trying to stop her from running away. Kamui flees down the long, traditional hallway, but Hinata is determined not to let her go. His expression is one of pure, unwavering resolve. Kamui thinks it might be better for everyone if she just disappears. And just like that, she vanishes from sight. Suddenly, a katana is drawn from a nearby display. Hinata's instincts kick in, earning him the absolute concealment skill. This kid's skill tree is getting ridiculous. Kamui stops, sensing that she's not alone after all. She stands ready with the blade, prepared for a fight. But her resolve crumbles and she collapses to the floor. The S-rank prodigy is once again a blushing, flustered mess. Hinata reveals himself, calling out her name gently. She jumps, completely startled by his sudden appearance. He immediately panics, apologizing for having worried her. Kamui can only stare, her mind completely blank. He stands over her, waiting for her to speak. With tears in her eyes, she asks why he's doing all this for her. Hinata offers a gentle, reassuring smile. He explains that he feels responsible for making her cry. He admits that seeing her train so hard is inspiring. He once again offers her the handkerchief. He wanted to be useful to someone as amazing as her. His words leave her completely stunned. A single tear rolls down her cheek. She confesses that she's just so happy. For the first time, she reaches out and touches his hand. With a radiant smile, she offers a heartfelt thank you. Hinata can only blush, completely flustered by the moment. The two of them share a quiet, understanding silence. But they're being watched by the old man from the garden, who suddenly appears between them, scaring them half to death. Talk about a mood killer. Kamui recognizes him as her uncle. The old man laughs, pleased that she's found a good one. He asks Hinata how he's nullifying her power. The old man's expression turns sharp at the mention of a skill. He asks if Hinata knows anything about the true nature of skills, but he grins, saying that knowledge doesn't come for free. He points at them, a brilliant idea forming in his mind. He suggests Hinata become his grandson by marrying Kamui, a suggestion that earns him a swift kick from his niece. Hinata's brain has officially stopped working. Kamui begs him to forget everything, as he gets a terror defense skill. Because, of course, he does. After the chaos subsides, they return to the main house. Irina welcomes them back as if nothing happened. But another figure is waiting for them in the shadows. A stern man introduces himself as Kamui Akira, her father. Hinata offers a terrified, formal introduction. Meeting the parents is going great. Kamui greets her father with a bright, welcoming smile. A reaction that leaves the stern head of the family completely stunned. She smiles, admitting she never thought this day would come. Akira turns to Hinata, offering his profound, booming gratitude. Hinata can only offer a nervous smile in return. Her parents admit they've dreamed of seeing her smile like this again. With the family reunion complete, Hinata prepares to leave, but Kamui calls out his name, stopping him at the gate. This day just keeps getting longer. He turns, asking what's on her mind. She hesitates, her hands nervously clasped together. She asks him to call her by her first name from now on, a request that sends our boy into a full-blown panic. He quickly tries to backpedal, thinking he's misread the situation, but she clarifies, saying she just needs time to prepare herself. The thought of being on a first-name basis is just too much for him. She admits she's not mentally prepared for it either. They agree he can do it whenever he feels ready. No pressure. They exchange goodbyes, telling each other to be safe. She offers a final, gentle wave as he departs. But the moment he's gone, her smile fades completely. Her mother watches from the doorway, a concerned look on her face. But her concern quickly melts into a knowing smile. She asks if Hinata has left for the night. Irina notes what a good person he is, and Kamui agrees. Her mother promises that the entire Kamui family will support him. After all, he's the one who brought back their daughter. Kamui's expression remains distant, her thoughts unreadable. Irina was happy to see her smile, but worries what will happen when he's gone. Kamui simply states that she's returning to her room. And with a quiet goodnight, the eventful day finally comes to an end. The door to a private training hall slides open. Kamui steps inside, ready to continue her solitary battle. Her expression is grim, her resolve unshakable. Elsewhere, Hinata arrives at the entrance of an E-rank dungeon. A common sight, unlike the rare A-rank dungeons of the world. He's determined to acquire more skills to stand by Kamui's side, but his path is blocked by a stern-looking guard. The man asks to see his license before allowing him to pass. Standard procedure. He then asks to confirm Hinata's current level. With a confident smile, Hinata presents his hand, marked with a 0. The guard is shocked, refusing to let a level 0 enter alone. Dejected, Hinata watches as other explorers are waved through. He wonders if there's a way to sneak past the gatekeeper, and then he remembers he has a skill for that. How convenient. He activates absolute concealment, preparing for some light trespassing. He walks right past the guard, completely unseen. Hinata is amazed that his new power is actually working, but the skill suddenly deactivates, causing him to cry out in pain. A familiar, arrogant voice cuts through the air. It's Guy, who has also been stopped by the very same guard. The bully scoffs, annoyed at being delayed for such a weak dungeon. He shoves past, leaving Hinata to watch from the sidelines. The guard can only sigh at the attitude of today's youth. With the coast now clear, Hinata finally steps inside. He finds himself in a grassy field as a new system window appears. He's confused. This dungeon is called the Troll's Den. He realizes this isn't the same dark, terrifying place from before. He stands alone, trying to process this new, unfamiliar environment. Nearby, another explorer confidently swings his sword. His target is a small, terrified-looking slime, a truly epic battle. A blonde girl with a spear easily dispatches the creature, while another student brings down a massive axe. The slime monster is defeated in a single, coordinated strike. The party of 3 celebrates their easy victory. Hinata watches them from a distance with an admiring smile. He finds his own slime and gains the monster analysis skill. He names the creature Koru, finding its texture surprisingly pleasant, but his gentle squeeze ends with a sudden, messy pop. Covered in goo, he earns hand strength adjustment. The universe's skill delivery service strikes again. He's soon surrounded by the remains of countless defeated slimes. With his new skill, he's now a master of slime squishing, but he's disappointed that none of them have dropped a magic stone. The other party spots a slime flying through the air, thinking it's a rare variant. It's just Hinata, holding his new friend aloft, completely oblivious. The other explorers watch, baffled by his strange behavior. Their leader grows angry, ordering his team to attack the boy. But the slime stretches out, trying to protect Hinata from the threat. He vows to protect his new friend, a promise made to a blob of goo. His escape leads him to a strange wooden dock. He stops on a circular platform, wondering what it could be. The platform activates, sending his slime friend flying into the air. Koru lands safely on the dock, now separated from Hinata. Hinata cries out, realizing he's accidentally teleported his friend away. Elsewhere, Guy ventures deeper into the dungeon's caverns. He looks determined, but the pressure is clearly getting to him. A low growl echoes as a pair of tusks appears from the darkness. He's come face to face with the dungeon's floor boss. Hinata's analysis skill identifies it as a troll, weak to fire. The massive beast swings its club with devastating force. Guy barely manages to dodge the powerful sweeping attack. Guy strains, his weapon barely holding back the beast's power. With a desperate cry, he puts everything into his defense. But his frustration grows. This isn't going as planned. Suddenly, a blast of magic slams into the troll's side. The other party has arrived, wondering what's going on. Their swordsman leaps into the fray without hesitation. He lands a powerful, decisive blow on the monster's head. In an instant, the massive beast is brought down. Hinata is completely captivated by their teamwork. Now that's an adventuring party. But their leader is already facing down another troll. He plants his feet, clearly annoyed by the interruption. Guy looks up, completely bewildered by the turn of events. He can't believe what he's seeing. A second troll stands before him, an impossible sight. He braces himself, preparing for another round. The bully lets out a roar of pure frustration. Hinata watches from the sidelines, his eyes wide with fear. The beast's club smashes into the ground with incredible force. He's now surrounded, realizing the dungeon rules have been broken. Hinata tries to make sense of the chaotic situation. The other party's leader is thrown back by the assault. The swordsman calls out, offering to help the struggling student. Guy is stunned by the unexpected offer of an alliance. The two groups join forces, fighting back against the monsters. Their combined strength begins to turn the tide of the battle. Even Guy manages to land a powerful, clean strike. He narrowly avoids a swipe from the beast's massive claws. The relentless battle is clearly taking its toll. The swordsman thanks him, acknowledging their teamwork. But they're left wondering why 3 bosses appeared at once. Hinata can only stare, realizing a third boss has appeared. The other party decides to collect their loot, leaving Guy to recover. Their leader offers some friendly advice about not overdoing it. His new allies note his strength, but also the risks of going solo. They remind him that in a dungeon, there are no second chances. But Guy's expression hardens, as if he's already accepted that risk. The silence of the cavern hangs heavy after the battle. Hinata, still hidden, tries to make sense of the impossible situation. He realizes each party's presence spawned a separate floor boss, and a terrible thought dawns on him. He's the cause of the third troll. He steps out of the shadows, facing the monster he summoned. With a new resolve, he decides it's his turn to step up. The beast hasn't noticed him yet, giving him the perfect opening. His plan is simple: use his concealment skill for hit-and-run attacks. His martial arts skill allows him to see the monster's weak points. He remembers seeing the beast aim for the back of the neck. With his target identified, he prepares to make his move. He unleashes a powerful kick, aiming for the monster's head. The blow lands squarely, a direct hit on the troll's face. His concealment shatters and the 60-second cooldown begins. The troll turns, confused, as Hinata readies for its counterattack. But his attack left barely a scratch on the monster's thick hide. He realizes in horror that his attack had almost no effect. He's left with a choice: wait for his skill, or risk a direct fight. He remembers his defense boost skill, betting it can take at least one hit. With no other option, he decides to bet everything on his own durability. Suddenly, a cheerful voice cuts through the tension from behind him. Hinata whips around, completely startled by the sudden appearance. A girl with twin pigtails offers him a wide, unnerving smile. But their little chat is about to be interrupted by a giant club. She offers a cheerful introduction, completely ignoring the giant monster. Hinata can only stammer back, wondering how she got here. He tries to warn her, pointing out the very large, very angry troll. But she just pats its back, casually saying it's already taken care of. The massive beast's head begins to droop forward, and with a thud, it collapses, leaving Hinata completely stunned. He wonders if it's just playing dead, its hand still twitching. The girl just puffs her cheeks, seemingly annoyed by his caution. She laughs it off, telling him a monster is defeated when it's defeated. Simple as that. She pokes the fallen beast, showing a complete lack of fear. Hinata, however, is a blushing, flustered mess. He turns away, covering his eyes as she asks what's wrong. He stammers that he saw something he shouldn't have. The girl is completely confused by his sudden panic. She then lifts her skirt, revealing she's wearing shorts underneath. Problem solved, I guess. She giggles at his reaction, teasing him for being so flustered. Our boy can only hide his face, wishing the ground would swallow him whole. She offers a smug little smile, clearly enjoying his discomfort, but their little moment is about to be interrupted. The troll rises behind her, very much not defeated. She puts her hands on her hips, ready for round 2. Hinata can only watch, his expression filled with concern. From her back, she draws 2 large, cylindrical weapons. She tells him what he's about to see is a secret. With a wink, she asks him to keep it between them. She calmly walks towards the massive, angry beast. Hinata is left speechless by her sheer confidence. Her eyes are sharp, her expression one of absolute focus. She plants her feet, ready to unleash her true power, and with incredible speed, she lunges forward to attack. Hinata can only stare, stunned by her incredible speed. The troll swings its massive club, aiming to crush her, but she dodges with a graceful, spinning kick. Her eyes are sharp, her focus absolute even while upside down. She closes the distance in an instant, moving in for the attack. The beast can't even track her lightning-fast movements. She becomes a blur of motion, a whirlwind of strikes. Her weapons slam into the ground, unleashing a powerful shockwave. Hinata realizes she's using a powerful magic weapon. She unleashes a relentless flurry of devastating blows. A final powerful strike sends the monster flying backward. The troll is left reeling, enveloped in a cloud of dust. She stands her ground, the battle seemingly over. With a calm breath, she lowers her weapons. She turns to Hinata with a bright, victorious wink. But she looks around, wondering where he's disappeared to. Hinata, meanwhile, is trying to sneak away using his concealment. He figures it's best if she just forgets she ever saw him. But her expression shifts, her senses on high alert. With a single decisive stomp, she zeroes in on his location. And just like that, she appears right behind him. So much for a clean getaway. Hinata is completely startled by her sudden appearance. The girl's expression is one of pure, unnerving intensity. She throws her arms up, demanding he reveal himself. Hinata panics, realizing he's been caught. She pouts, annoyed that he's still hiding from her. She then threatens to cry if he doesn't come out. A classic strategy. Hinata immediately breaks, not wanting to make another girl cry. She continues her act, begging him to deactivate his skill. With a sigh, Hinata finally reveals himself, much to her surprise. Hinata can only stand there, completely exhausted from the ordeal. The girl is amazed, saying she couldn't sense his presence at all. She smiles, explaining that she has a special ability of her own. Our boy is left blushing, completely out of his social element. She leans in close, studying him with an intense curiosity. She correctly guesses that he doesn't talk to people very often. Her next guess about him not having friends hits him like a critical strike. She laughs at his flustered reaction, asking if she's made him angry. She teases him for being so serious, a comment he can't quite process. Her tone shifts, asking why he was hiding in the first place. She wonders if his ability is a secret he can't afford to let out. Hinata is on edge, trying to figure out what she really wants from him. With a bright smile, she offers him a deal. Form a temporary party. The sudden request leaves Hinata completely and utterly stunned. He can't understand why this powerful girl would want to team up with him. He reluctantly agrees, figuring he has no choice if he wants to keep his skills a secret. She celebrates their new partnership, grabbing his hand in excitement. Her joyful cheer echoes through the now quiet cavern. Hinata can only stare, completely baffled by her boundless energy. She then pulls out a picnic blanket, suggesting they wait for the boss to respawn. As one does. Hinata asks where she pulled her weapons from, guessing she has spatial storage. She pats the ground, inviting him to sit and get comfortable. She suddenly realizes they've skipped a crucial step: introductions. She introduces herself as Cheyion, and he gives his name in return. They learn they're both first years, but in different classes. Cheyion is disappointed, but Hinata points out they've only just met. The conversation turns to Kamui, the S-rank prodigy in his class. Cheyion smirks, hinting that a powerful rival is closer than he thinks. Hinata is confused, just as the troll respawns right behind them. They both leap into action, ready for round 2 against the floor boss. Cheyion leaps into action, telling Hinata to circle around the beast. Hinata is stunned, realizing this is his first real party battle. She soars through the air, a blur of motion and steel. The troll roars in fury, ready to meet her charge. Following her lead, Hinata uses his speed to flank the monster, but his speed is far greater than she ever anticipated. She can only stare, shocked by his impossible velocity. His eyes are sharp, his focus absolute as he closes in. He lands a powerful blow directly on the monster's jaw. He uses the momentum to launch himself back into the air. Cheyion is left speechless by his coordinated, lightning-fast assault. The force of his attack drives the massive beast into the ground. She asks if he's already taken it down, completely amazed. Hinata notes that hitting the weak spot was surprisingly effective. Cheyion offers him all the loot from their shared victory. He happily accepts, ready to use his dismantling skill. She watches him with a curious, knowing smile. She suggests they keep farming, much to Hinata's surprise. And so begins their surprisingly efficient monster-slaying spree. Before long, Hinata has amassed a small mountain of materials. With their work done, Cheyion decides it's time to leave. But she turns to find that Hinata has vanished once again. She offers him her hand, catching him completely off guard. She explains it's to make sure he doesn't try to run away. She even threatens to cry in front of his class if he leaves. A truly devastating tactic. Defeated, Hinata is led out of the dungeon by the hand. Cheyion hums a cheerful tune, completely pleased with herself. Our boy, meanwhile, is having a full-blown social anxiety meltdown. They finally reach the exit, and she tells him to deactivate his skill. With a flash of light, Hinata reappears, much to her delight. Cheyion teases him, glad he didn't try to run away. Her playful, formal address leaves Hinata completely flustered. He explains he's used to it thanks to his sister. Cheyion is intrigued, noting his mannerisms remind her of family. She compliments his incredible concealment skill. He tries to downplay his strength, calling himself average, but she gives him a look that says she knows better. This girl is way too perceptive. She asks his plans, and he mentions another dungeon for tomorrow. Cheyion immediately invites herself along for the next trip. She gets close, reminding him they're a party now. She runs off, setting a time and place for their next meeting. But the moment she's alone, her cheerful facade drops completely. Hinata sighs, realizing this one-time team-up just became a regular thing. Back at the dorms, the day's adventure has taken its toll. He collapses onto the floor, utterly drained of all energy. Fuji finds him, teasing him about his ongoing trouble with girls. Hinata deflects, asking about Fuji's own dungeon trip. His friend proudly announces he tackled a D-rank dungeon. Hinata is impressed, but Fuji admits he was just support for a stronger party. Still, Hinata knows that keeping up with them requires real skill. He's fired up, determined not to be a burden to his future allies. Fuji then asks if he knows about the 2 types of explorers. He explains the world is divided into 2 groups, conservatives and strategists. The conservatives stick to cleared floors, a much safer path, while the strategists push into the unknown, facing death at every turn. Hinata can't understand why anyone would choose such a dangerous life. Fuji explains that the high risk comes with incredible rewards. The main prize is a high spot on the exploration rankings. The very best receive unbelievable support from around the world. And, he adds, there's also a very special secret reward. Fuji explains this reward is something beyond human reach. He admits his ultimate goal is to become #1 in the world. Hinata is completely stunned by his friend's lofty ambition. Fuji adds that the current #1, unknown, is considered unbeatable. If only he knew. The next day arrives bringing a new set of challenges. Back in his room, Hinata reflects on the mysterious top ranker. Fuji wonders aloud what that special reward could possibly be. Hinata decides he'll ask about it when the time is right. The clock on the wall ticks ominously towards 9:45. Hinata suddenly realizes he's late for his meeting with Cheyion. He remembers her warning not to be late for their 10 a.m. appointment. He frantically gets changed, knowing he's already cutting it close. Rushing out the door, he dreads the lecture he's about to receive. But Cheyion is waiting for him with a patient, knowing smile. Their destination is another E-rank dungeon, E90. Inside, Cheyion stands in a clearing, bathed in sunlight. She offers a smug look as if she knew he'd make it. She playfully grabs him, much to his flustered surprise. His dungeon information skill identifies their new location. Hinata has just relieved his speed boost skill saved the day. Cheyion suddenly points towards something deeper in the forest. A small, winged creature lands gently on her finger. Hinata is startled as she appears right behind him. She scolds him for not revealing himself sooner. She pouts, annoyed that he found her so easily. With their reunion complete, they venture into the woods. Cheyion points ahead, announcing she's detected a monster. Hinata is shocked, wondering if she has a scan skill too. A small but ferocious-looking creature appears before them. His analysis skill identifies it, noting its weakness and rare drop. Cheyion suggests they fight just like they did yesterday. The small creature lets out a surprisingly ferocious roar. It leaps through the trees with incredible speed. The monster lands, ready to pounce on its prey. But Cheyion just smiles, ready for the challenge. She brings her weapon down in a powerful, decisive strike. Hinata cries out, noticing this monster is a different color. A much larger version of the creature appears right behind him. So much for a warm-up. Hinata throws a punch, aiming for the beast's massive jaw. Its mouth opens wide, revealing rows of sharp teeth. The monster is sent flying backward from the force of his blow. Hinata is left completely stunned by his own strength. Cheyion looks on with a bright, impressed smile. She offers him all the loot from their victory, and he gratefully accepts. He can't believe he took it down so easily, but she's not surprised at all. Their monster-slaying spree continues through the forest. Hinata clenches his fist, feeling his power grow with each fight. The local monster population is having a very, very bad day. He looks at another defeated creature, getting used to the rhythm of battle. Cheyion suddenly calls out his name, pointing ahead. She's found the entrance to the dungeon's boss room. Hinata gulps, realizing he's about to face his next big test. Cheyion grabs his hand, ready to charge forward. She pulls him along, her excitement completely infectious. They arrive at a large circular platform in a stone room. Hinata notes the lack of other explorers, but Cheyion is focused on the boss. She explains this dungeon's entrance moves randomly after each clear. With a grin, she pulls him towards the teleporter. Personal space is clearly not her strong suit. A beam of light erupts from the platform as it activates. They both stare, a look of pure shock on their faces. They're transported to a frozen cavern, home to a menacing wolf. His analysis skill identifies the boss. Giga, weak to light. The ground trembles as the beast makes its presence known. It's the floor boss, a creature of immense size and power. Hinata screams in terror, while Cheyion is just thrilled by the challenge. The beast lunges forward, its maw wide open for the kill. But Hinata meets its charge with a powerful, direct punch. He recalls the basics. In a two-person party, both must be vanguards. They split up, flanking the monster from both sides. Cheyion tells him to stick to the plan and watch its attacks. The beast's jaw begins to glow with a dangerous energy. She warns him that it's about to breathe fire. A fire-breathing wolf, sure. Why not? Hinata uses his speed to narrowly dodge the fiery blast. He lands hard, the force of the explosion shaking the ground. With a burst of speed, he puts distance between himself and the flames. He looks back, shaken but unharmed by the close call. The wolf unleashes a torrent of fire across the entire cavern. A massive wave of destruction sweeps towards Cheyion, but she stands her ground, ready to meet the attack head-on. Hinata can only watch, horrified by the sheer scale of the attack. Her weapon hums with a powerful, concentrated energy. A wild, determined grin spreads across her face. She unleashes a massive shockwave, dispersing the flames completely. Hinata is left speechless by her incredible display of power. The two forces collide, leaving the battlefield scorched and chaotic. The beast roars, undeterred by her powerful counter. Cheyion closes the distance, landing a solid blow on its head. The monster recoils, preparing to retaliate with another attack. Seeing his opening, Hinata rushes in from the side. He slides low, aiming a powerful kick at the beast's underbelly. Cheyion readies her weapons, preparing to unleash another devastating attack. They become a whirlwind of coordinated chaos, attacking the beast from both sides. With a final, determined roar, Hinata puts everything into his next blow. He dives from above, bringing his full weight down on the monster's back. The sheer force of his attack drives the massive wolf into the ground. Cheyion can only stare, completely stunned by his overwhelming power. The beast lies motionless, its reign of fiery terror finally at an end. She celebrates their victory, cheering that Hinata has taken it down. Hinata looks on, barely able to believe the fight is actually over. Cheyion smugly confirms that the monster won't be getting up again. They both laugh, surprised at how easily they defeated the floor boss. Hinata gives her all the credit, a compliment that catches her off guard. She gives him a knowing look, clearly impressed by his modesty. With the battle won, they venture back into the sunlit forest. They both turn back, a look of surprise on their faces. Just as she said, the entrance to the boss room has completely vanished. Hinata examines a rare potion drop, realizing its incredible value. Cheyion suddenly complains that all that fighting has made her hungry. With a cheerful wave, she suggests they head into town for a meal. She suddenly latches onto his arm, leaving Hinata completely flustered. She seems confused by his sudden panic, asking what's wrong. She teases him, saying she'll disappear again if he lets go. Our boy is just trying to survive this social encounter. He asks her name, and she leans in close, her expression unreadable. With a quiet voice, she apologizes in advance. Hinata is left completely bewildered by her sudden shift in tone, but she just offers a bright smile, promising to do her best. Their adventure takes them out of the dungeon and into the city. They find themselves surrounded by the bustling afternoon crowds. Cheyion clings to his arm, much to Hinata's very public discomfort. Cheyion asks what's wrong, noticing a strange shift in the city. But Hinata is completely frozen, a look of panic on his face. He realizes she's trembling, afraid of something in the crowd. He calls out her name, trying to understand what's happening. She's clearly in distress, overwhelmed by the people around them. He looks around, trying to find the source of her fear. A memory surfaces of his sister, overwhelmed by a similar crowd. He wonders if Cheyion is experiencing the same thing. Apparently, social anxiety is a family trait. Perhaps she has a deep-seated trauma related to large groups. She looks up at him, desperately asking how to make it stop. Her confident facade has completely crumbled away. She clenches her fist, trying to fight back the rising panic. Hinata's expression hardens with a new resolve. He remembers someone saying that everyone carries their own burdens. Cheyion can only offer a quiet, pained apology, but he tells her there's nothing to be sorry for. He leads her to a quieter street, hoping it will help. But the change of scenery doesn't seem to be enough. He gently places a hand on her shoulder to steady her. He asks her directly what's causing her so much pain. She covers her face, unable to answer. It seems she's being assaulted by more than just the crowd. Her ears must be getting an unsolicited podcast. Her eyes widen in shock as she points to her ear. The noise of the city is overwhelming her senses. She's completely lost in the sensory overload. The sounds are causing her a splitting headache. She clings to him, trying to find an anchor in the chaos. Her grip is tight, a desperate plea for help. She collapses, the sounds of the city echoing in her mind. She looks up at him, her expression one of utter despair. Without a second thought, he covers her ears with his hands. Cheyon's eyes widen, completely startled by the sudden contact. Hinata can only watch, his face a mask of concern. He holds her steady, trying to block out the overwhelming noise. He asks how she could possibly live like this every day. She sheepishly reveals a pair of high-tech earbuds. Hinata is stunned, asking why she wasn't wearing them. She admits she didn't want to, not while she was with him. He immediately takes the earbuds from her hand. With a gentle touch, he places one of them in her ear. His expression is one of pure, focused determination. The world around her finally begins to quiet down. She offers a quiet, pained apology for all the trouble, but Hinata insists the fault is his for not noticing sooner. They share a look, the immediate crisis finally averted. He realizes these aren't for music, but for absolute silence. He knows his voice can no longer reach her. He clenches his fist, angry that she endured this for his sake. A familiar, determined look crosses his face. He feels a massive, invisible wall standing between them. He wants to do something, anything, to help her. But he feels powerless, wondering what he could possibly do. He remembers Kamui and how he protected her from her own power. Cheyion looks down, now lost in her silent world. With a desperate plea, he reaches out a hand. He roars internally, a silent cry for strength. He begs the universe to lend him its power. And the system provides, granting him telepathy. The universe's customer service is truly top-notch. He walks away, thanking his new partner in his mind. Hinata looks down, his expression unreadable and grim. Cheyion is stunned, hearing her name in the silence. She looks down, her world still a chaotic mess, but his voice cuts through, clear as day. He tells her a sad face doesn't suit her at all. She stammers, wondering how this is even possible. She can hear his voice and only his voice. Hinata smiles, his new skill working perfectly. Overwhelmed, she throws her arms around him. This kid is collecting hugs like they're trading cards. Hinata is caught completely off guard by the embrace. Cheyion breaks down, letting out all her fear and pain. He offers a gentle, reassuring smile in return. He realizes her earbuds were a shield that became a prison. He holds her, knowing she's been facing this all alone. This might not be a perfect solution, but for now it's enough. She looks up, calling his name through her tears. She offers a very messy but very sincere thank you. He's just relieved to see her back to her usual self. Elsewhere, a stern military official discusses a mysterious cellar. His superior explains they've had no luck making contact. The timing of this discovery couldn't be worse. He opens a case revealing the massive magic stone Hinata sold. His subordinate protests, but the man waves off his concerns. He smugly declares that Japan is the safest place in the world. After all, it's home to two of the world's top explorers. The question remains, what to do with the infinite magic stone? The Kamui and Kagura families have already made offers to buy it. The official is stunned, wondering who leaked the intel. Two new figures appear from the shadows. They casually admit to being the source of the leak. Well, that was easy. The official can only sigh, his day getting more complicated. The official explodes with rage over the massive security leak. A woman from the Kamui family demands the stone be handed over. But a man from the rival Kagura family refuses to be outdone. The two begin to argue over which family has contributed more. They both turn to the official, demanding he choose a side. The argument escalates into a full-blown standoff. Family gatherings must be fun with these two. The woman Akari glares with an unyielding determination. The man, Tuma, reveals his sister Cheyion suffers from a painful condition. Akari counters, explaining her own sister, Kamui, lives in isolation. They both believe this mysterious magic stone is their only hope. Tuma looks at her, realizing the depth of her conviction. Akari's gaze is sharp, confirming she will not back down. Both are willing to sacrifice everything for their younger sisters. Tuma declares he won't let this one chance slip away. The tension in the room finally snaps. They roar at each other, ready to settle this with force. But the official intervenes, forbidding them from fighting. Akari warns that a battle between them would be disastrous for Japan. The official threatens to destroy the stone if they disobey. A classic, if I can't have it, no one can, move. Defeated, the two rivals reluctantly stand down. He offers a compromise. Find the cellar and get another stone. He introduces Kagura Tuma, Japan's third strongest explorer, and Kamui Akari, the nation's second strongest. Elsewhere, Cheyion points excitedly, her spirits completely lifted. She's a different person, no longer weighed down by her pain. Their journey together leads them to a quiet cafe. They step inside, greeted by the welcoming staff. Hinata smiles, but Cheyion seems taken aback by the interaction. He explains he's mouthing the words to match his telepathy. Cheyion is overjoyed, finding his thoughtful solution absolutely perfect. Cheyion excitedly places their order at the counter. She proudly presents a massive, decadent-looking drink. He asks if this is what she wanted, and she happily agrees. She admits she's always wanted to share one with someone. With a smile, she offers him the first sip. Hinata is stunned by the taste, a perfect blend of sweet and bitter. Cheyion smirks, asking if he's impressed by her choice. He smiles, noting her playful nature reminds him of his sister. A bold comparison, my friend. But her cheerful expression immediately sours. She gets in his face, demanding he not compare her to anyone. And just as quickly, she returns to her drink with a smug look. Hinata can only offer a nervous laugh, completely lost. With her drink finished, she sets her sights on their next stop. She grabs his arm, startling him from his thoughts. With a grin, she declares their time is limited and drags him away. And so begins their whirlwind tour of the city. Their adventure takes them from arcades to crane games. They share a meal, laughing together in the afternoon sun. She even helps him pick out some new clothes. Cheyion shows off a new pair of earrings, her joy infectious. Hinata follows along, carrying their spoils with a happy, dazed look. As the sun begins to set, their day seems to be winding down. But she leads him to a massive estate, announcing their home. Hinata is speechless. This mansion makes the Kamui estate look like a starter home. But Cheyion just stands at the gate, her arms crossed. An awkward silence falls between them as she refuses to move. He calls out her name, sensing something is wrong. With a quiet voice, she admits she doesn't want to go back. Her eyes are filled with a deep, unreadable sadness. He tries to reason with her, saying her parents will be worried. She dismisses his concern, saying it's not a problem at all. But Hinata suddenly realizes who she is. Kagura Cheyion. He asks why she never bothered to tell him her full name. She explains that the Kagura family is just as powerful as the Kamui clan. She didn't want him to treat her any differently because of her family. She quietly notes how kind he's been to her the entire time. With her hands on the gate, she calls out his name one last time. She asks if he'll still spend time with her in the future. Hinata is caught off guard, a flustered smile on his face. He tells her of course he will, and she looks down, relieved. With a grin, he reminds her that they're a party now, after all. Her face lights up with a genuine, radiant smile. The next day, Hinata arrives back at the academy, but the school is crawling with stern-looking military guards. He can't help but notice the increased security presence. He wonders what could possibly be going on to warrant this. One of the guards seems to notice him from a distance. Hinata immediately panics, his heart pounding in his chest. He spots a sign asking for the owner of a very familiar magic stone. He realizes it's the same stone he sold for 300,000 yen. Well, this is awkward. He tries to process why the entire military is looking for him. The guard turns, his gaze sharp and suspicious. He can feel the man's eyes boring into him, searching for something. Hinata freezes, trying his absolute best to look innocent. And the system grants him poker face. The universe really has a skill for every occasion. He schools his features into a mask of perfect, unreadable calm. The guards turn away, completely fooled by his sudden composure. With the immediate danger averted, he heads to a buyback center. He decides to quickly sell off the rest of his materials, and is left speechless by the mountain of cash he's just earned. He reviews the price list, noting the vast difference in value, but a sudden realization leaves him completely stunned. The magic stones from these monsters are worth almost nothing. He wonders why they're so cheap compared to his first big sale. He pulls out a stone from the wolf boss, fearing the worst. The machine appraises it for a staggering 150 million yen. Hinata's brain officially short-circuits at the impossible number. His silent scream of shock turns heads across the entire building. He panics, thinking the machine must be broken yet again. Our boy is just trying to understand what is even happening anymore. He remembers the military's notice and the pieces finally click into place. His expression hardens with a grim, dawning horror. Terrified, he decides to sell his other loot and get out immediately. He cashes out, his life now infinitely more complicated. Later, Cheyion is happily full after their celebratory meal, but she immediately remembers that she forgot to order dessert. Hinata notes his hunger-resistance skill is only for emergencies. She asks where he went, and he confirms he was at Dungeon E90. Cheyion explains its materials sell for more than even D-rank items. Because D-rank dungeons are so crowded, their loot is far less valuable. She concludes that for making money, E90 is the perfect spot. Hinata resolves to keep farming the dungeon for its rare potions. The next day, life at the academy continues as usual. He walks through the school grounds, a new confidence in his step. He reflects on the whirlwind 3 weeks since he first enrolled. He spots Kamui in the distance and calls out her name. The other students immediately start whispering about the rumored couple. He's surprised to hear them call her the Ice Princess. Kamui explains it's a nickname she earned for her cold demeanor. Hinata offers a cold, intense stare of his own in solidarity. He's helping. But their arrival doesn't go unnoticed by the other students. Hinata's expression is calm, his focus solely on her. He takes a step forward, ready for the day. With a cheerful wave, he offers her a simple good morning. Kamui is stunned, calling out his name in surprise. He activates his skill, nullifying her aura before she even enters the school. She can't help but wonder if his power has grown even stronger. He denies it, completely oblivious to the crowd's growing suspicion. The gossip mill starts turning, wondering why the Ice Princess is with a level 0. Hinata can feel their stares, the weight of his reputation returning. They head to their classroom, the tension following them. Inside, Guy and his cronies are waiting with matching angry glares. Hinata realizes he might need to start staggering his arrival time. The pressure of the entire class is starting to get to him. But it's Guy's silent, intense stare that's the most unnerving. The bully's eyes are filled with a cold, simmering rage. Hinata can only offer a weak, nervous smile in return. Later that day, he tries to find some peace on the school rooftop. But his quiet moment of reflection is about to be interrupted. A familiar, angry voice calls out his name from behind. He sighs, realizing this only ever happens when Kamui isn't around. Guy gets in his face, sneering about him getting close to the Ice Princess. But that name, that insult, finally strikes a nerve. He knows the world sees her as a cold, distant figure, a girl who suppresses her emotions to contain her immense power, an isolated prodigy who earned her lonely title through fear. But Hinata grits his teeth, knowing that's not the real her. He clenches his fist, the memory of her struggle fresh in his mind. He knows the truth, the girl with the genuine, radiant smile. And for the first time, Hinata grabs his bully, telling him she's no Ice Princess. He roars that Guy knows nothing of the struggles she faces every day. He screams at him not to judge her by appearances alone. With a final, furious cry, he tells him to never do it again. And the system rewards his righteous anger with the intimidation skill. Guy can only let out a terrified gasp, completely overwhelmed. A dark, menacing aura now surrounds Hinata, a physical manifestation of his rage. His expression is cold, his eyes filled with a power Guy has never seen. The bully sweats, feeling a pressure far greater than any monster he's faced. But his pride won't let him back down, and he prepares to fight. He lunges forward, accusing Hinata of playing the hero. But his powerful kick is blocked with almost no effort at all. Hinata's eyes are calm, his focus absolute as he holds his ground. Suddenly, a new girl appears, calling out Hinata's name in shock. The two boys are locked in a fierce, unmoving stalemate. Guy is stunned as Hinata's foot connects squarely with his chin. Hinata looks down, his expression still cold and unforgiving. The girl begs him to stop, pleading for him not to go too far. Her voice seems to snap him out of it, his eyes widening in surprise. She rushes to his side as Guy complains about another princess showing up. Hinata is completely bewildered by her sudden appearance. She asks if he was really about to finish Guy for good. He looks down, explaining he was just defending Kamui's honor. Guy gets to his feet, vowing that this isn't over. But Hinata just tells him to stop trying to stand out. With a simple flick of his wrist, he sends the bully flying backward. The force of the blow sends a shockwave up Guy's entire arm. Hinata's eyes widen, shocked by his own incredible strength. Guy collapses to the ground, completely and utterly defeated. Hinata can't believe it, realizing he only meant to give him a light tap. The girl leads him away, leaving the former bully to contemplate his life choices on the rooftop. Guy is left on the ground, his pride completely shattered. Hinata looks back, still processing what just happened. The girl stands with him, the rooftop confrontation finally over. She asks if he was truly about to go that far. Hinata can only offer a flustered, panicked expression in return. Her eyes are filled with a genuine, heartfelt concern. She explains she knows he's not a bad person, but she was worried. The grim possibility of what could have happened finally hits him. He's left completely horrified by the thought. Guy retreats, his back turned, a silent admission of defeat. But Hinata knows he did it to defend Kamui's honor. He insists he never intended to take things that far. The girl grabs his arm, getting his full attention. He can only stammer, completely lost in the moment. Our boy is clearly not built for this level of social interaction. Suddenly, another voice calls his name. It's Kamui. He now finds himself in a training hall, caught between the two girls. The girl from the rooftop finally introduces herself, Kagura Cheyion. And Kamui offers her own name in return. They shake hands, but the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Hinata has absolutely no idea what's going on. He wonders how he ended up in the middle of this standoff. Cheyion suggests they deal with Kamui's freezing aura first, and then they both turn to him, demanding his help. Our boy can only offer a terrified, nervous smile. The three of them sit on the floor, a very awkward meeting in progress. Kamui accuses Cheyion of bullying him, a claim she vehemently denies. Hinata tries to explain that Cheyion was just worried about him. Kamui is left completely speechless by this revelation. With the misunderstanding cleared, a quiet calm settles over the room. Kamui quietly points to herself, a look of doubt on her face. Hinata can only watch, his expression completely unreadable. Cheyion breaks the silence, turning the focus back on him. She asks him a simple question. Does he truly believe he's weak? Hinata can only stammer out a shocked, "Of course." But Cheyion isn't buying it, recalling his fight with the troll. She explains to a stunned Kamui how he took it down in a single blow. He tries to downplay it, claiming he just hit a weak spot. A likely story. Cheyion immediately shuts him down, saying no normal person could do that. With a smug grin, she turns her attention to Kamui. She leans in, revealing she knows about Hinata's special power. Hinata panics, denying he has any such ability. Cheyion just points, reminding him of his little disappearing act. Kamui tries to cover for him, but she's clearly flustered. Her shock is absolute when she realizes he can actually turn invisible. Cheyion explains that even she can't sense him, but can still hear his voice. Hinata realizes she must have a special ability of her own. She reveals her S-rank power. She can hear everything around her. It's why she needs the earbuds and why she's called the Bug Princess. The insult suddenly clicks for Hinata, remembering Guy's cruel words. Kamui looks on, a new understanding dawning in her eyes. But Hinata's expression hardens into pure, unadulterated rage. Cheyion explains the world has branded them both with cruel nicknames. He realizes people judge them without knowing a single thing. He defends them both, listing their true, kind qualities. Cheyion is surprised by his passionate defense. He clenches his fist, vowing not to forgive their tormentors. He sits between them, a silent protector against the world. Cheyion teases him, asking why he's getting so worked up. But she laughs, admitting it's not so bad if he's the one defending them. Kamui offers a gentle, knowing smile in agreement. Cheyon's smile is just as genuine, full of relief. Hinata, however, is completely stunned by their reactions, but his shock quickly fades into a quiet resolve. He clenches his fists, a heavy weight on his shoulders. He begins to explain his situation, his voice strained. He tells them he has no hidden S-rank power. In fact, it's the complete opposite. He was born a level 0 and has been stuck there ever since. The two S-rank prodigies are left utterly speechless. He's been told his entire life that he has no future. He became known as the Eternal Level 0, a title he's desperate to overcome. He explains how hard he's worked, training and studying relentlessly. He came to this academy hoping for a fresh start. But his old bully followed him, and nothing changed at all. No matter where he goes, that single number follows him. A familiar anger boils up, a rage directed at the world. He can't help but wonder why he's the only one. Why was he the only one cursed with this fate? Suddenly, Cheyen's hand covers his, calling out his name. He looks up, completely startled by the sudden contact. Kamui tells him she's glad he came to this school. Because of him, she's been able to reconnect with her family. She gives him all the credit for her newfound strength. Cheyion watches him, her gaze sharp and understanding. Our boy can only offer a strained, awkward expression in return. He's not great with compliments. They both smile, admitting they just wanted to be acknowledged. He realizes he's found a new reason to exist, a reason beyond just providing for his family. The weight of their acceptance grounds him in a way he's never felt. Kamui thanks him for showing her the warmth of another person. Cheyion thanks him for being the one to finally reach her. And now Hinata sits between two S-rank prodigies. He realizes his own struggles were nothing compared to theirs. With a bright, blushing smile, he thanks them for their kindness. He feels a gratitude that words can't possibly express. But Cheyion suddenly holds up a hand, telling him to stop. She declares that any more self-pity is officially forbidden. Kamui then chimes in, saying she has a complaint of her own. This is starting to feel like an intervention. She doesn't like being called by her family name anymore. She asks why he won't call her by her first name, like he does with Cheyion. The request sends Hinata's brain into a full-blown system crash. His heart pounds at the thought of calling her Hinata. The girls laugh, teasing that they can hear his heart racing. Cheyion then bestows upon him a new nickname, Hina-chan. She suggests it's the perfect way to avoid any confusion. Kamui is overjoyed, completely agreeing with the idea. Cheyion leans in, teasing him with a smug, knowing look. Our boy can only blush, completely overwhelmed by the attention. This is his final boss, social interaction. He tries to hide his face, the pressure becoming too much. With a deep breath, he finally manages to say her name. Kamui is left blushing and overjoyed by the simple gesture. Hinata, however, looks like he's about to spontaneously combust. The girls can only laugh as he runs away in embarrassment. Cheyion then announces she wants to try the same training. She begs him to help her control her own power as well. Hinata reluctantly agrees, wondering what he's gotten himself into. The two S-ranks stand ready, prepared for whatever comes next. With a determined look, Hinata tells them to begin. He stands before them, a lone figure facing immense power. He closes his eyes, steeling himself for the trial ahead. His eyes narrow, his focus absolute. A blinding flash of light erupts from the two S-ranks. The sheer force of their combined power shakes the entire academy. Kamui grits her teeth, struggling to contain the immense energy. Cheyion digs her heels in, trying to hold her ground. The two of them collapse, clinging to each other for support. Cheyion pants, asking how he could possibly endure this every single day. Kamui adds that it wasn't nearly this intense last week, guess they're getting stronger. Hinata rushes in with drinks, asking if they're all right. Kamui looks up, blushing as she notes how much stronger he's become. Cheyion warns him to never use that power on anyone else. He's confused, realizing his intimidation skill must have activated on its own. With the girls completely drained, he tells them to be more careful next time. The day ends, another quiet afternoon at the academy. Later, he checks in on them, making sure they've recovered. Cheyion complains that the whole ordeal was completely traumatic. A bit dramatic, but we'll allow it. But Kamui stands apart, a thoughtful look on her face. She explains that she has a favor to ask of him. Hinata is surprised, asking what she could possibly need. Their destination is revealed, the Grand Kamui estate. Again, her mother, Irina, greets him with a blindingly cheerful welcome. He steps inside, a briefcase in hand, looking very out of place. Kamui explains she's brought another friend along this time. Irina's smile fades as she asks who this new girl is. The three of them stand outside, Kamui asking if they'd like to stay for dinner. She admits her mother wants to eat with her, and she wants that too. Hinata realizes her cold aura has prevented even simple family meals. He tells her they can leave if she's not ready, and she's overjoyed by his offer. She thanks him with a smile that could power a small city. Kamui then turns to Cheyion, inviting her to join them as well. Cheyion hesitates, clearly uncomfortable with the invitation. Irina's smile is gone, surprised to see a Kagura in her home. Cheyion nervously clutches her chest, feeling the family tension. Hinata recalls the bitter rivalry between the two great families. But Irina's mood shifts, offering a sudden, cheerful welcome. The three teenagers are left stunned by her complete 180. The sharp sound of a bamboo fountain cuts through the silence. Inside, Cheyion notes the stark contrast between their family homes. Hinata looks around, a new question forming in his mind. He finds Kamui's uncle hanging from the ceiling, as one does. The old man drops down, saying he heard a Kagura had arrived. Hinata is stunned, realizing this must be Cheyon's uncle. The old man just tells him not to worry about a thing. He then notes how much stronger Hinata has become recently. He muses that this growth must be part of that power. Our boy, meanwhile, has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. Irina returns, announcing that dinner is finally ready. The family is surprised to see the old man joining them. Irina invites him to eat with them, an offer he accepts. A massive, elaborate feast is spread out before them. For the first time in a decade, Kamui can enjoy a warm family meal. The old man immediately invites Hinata to come back every day. Hinata decides he'll need to consult the dorm mother about this. The quiet night settles over the grand Kamui estate. With the evening over, Hinata and Cheyion prepare to depart. A new determination shines in Hinata's eyes. Irina and the old man watch them go, seeing a good family forming. Hinata walks under the full moon, the word family on his mind. A genuine heartfelt smile crosses his face. Outside, Cheyion admits how nervous she was the entire time. Cheyion is stunned, realizing the old man is the legendary Kamui Jizu. Hinata asks if he's famous, and she confirms he's a living legend. In fact, he's widely considered the strongest person in all of Japan. Hinata realizes you really can't judge a book by its ceiling-hanging cover. With the family visit over, Cheyion asks about his plans for tomorrow. He tells her he's planning to grind dungeons alone for a while, a decision that earns him a very angry, puffed-out cheek from Cheyion. She quickly reminds him that they are, in fact, a party now. She turns away, admitting she's not sure about her own schedule. After all, she can't hear the lessons anyway, so she's just going through the motions. With a sly smile, she admits she'd much rather spend the time with him, a statement that leaves our boy completely and utterly flustered. He stammers out an agreement to team up for the dungeon tomorrow. But he panics, realizing he completely forgot about Kamui. The next day arrives, bringing with it a new opportunity. The academy announces a special curriculum for aspiring explorers. The teacher reminds them that this path is a constant dance with death. Elsewhere, Kamui's sister Akari reflects that it's a choice made freely, and Cheiyon's brother Tuma notes the school is encouraging them. Hinata, however, is just excited for the new program to begin. He turns to Kamui, who seems to sense his gaze. She glances back, her expression calm and unreadable. She quietly asks if he has a moment to talk after class. The rest of the students immediately start whispering about them. Later, they meet on the quiet, empty school rooftop. Cheyion arrives with a cheerful shout, ready to join the meeting. She notes his telepathy can reach just about anywhere on campus. With a flourish, she lays out a picnic blanket for the three of them. She suggests this become their new daily lunch spot. Hinata smiles, thinking that's not a bad idea at all. Kamui presents 2 ornate lunch boxes, each with her family crest. She explains her mother was so happy she made lunch for everyone, and then pulls out a third comically large box from her bag. Hinata can only wonder about the physics of her school bag. The three of them happily begin their rooftop meal together. But Hinata has something important he needs to tell Kamui. He reveals that he and Shan have already formed a party. The news leaves Kamui completely and utterly stunned. He adds that they're heading to a dungeon right after this. Kamui can only offer a quiet, understanding nod. Cheyion, however, is clearly enjoying the sudden tension. This is fine. Everything is fine. Seeing her disappointment, Hinata decides to make a proposal. He formally invites Kamui to join their 2-person team. Her eyes widen, unable to believe what she's hearing. She stammers, asking if he's truly okay with that. He smiles, saying her strength would be a huge asset. But she worries that she'll only get in their way. Cheyion teases that she might, but she's willing to allow it. Kamui immediately fires back, refusing to let Cheyion monopolize him. With a new fire in her eyes, she declares she'll do her best. She bows, begging them to let her join the party. Hinata offers a bright, welcoming smile in return. Cheyion laughs, officially welcoming her to the team. A radiant, blushing smile spreads across Kamui's face. Overjoyed, she accepts, and the strongest party is officially formed. Their first mission takes them back to Dungeon E90. Hinata watches as a perfect copy of himself dodges an attack. The monster is sent flying by the powerful, unseen blow. Cheyion calls out a warning as the beast soars through the air. A hand closes around the hilt of a sheathed katana. Kamui stands ready as the monster descends upon her. She draws her blade, preparing the first form of the Kamui style. The beast lets out a ferocious, desperate roar. Her eyes are sharp, her focus absolute. With a single azure flash, she sends the creature flying. The attack connects, a blur of pure, decisive force. The monster slams into a tree, its charge completely broken. Kamui lets out a calm breath, the battle already won. A bit of an overachiever, this one. She finishes it with a final clean strike. Hinata and Cheyion can only watch, completely stunned. Cheyion is amazed at her strength, even without her S-rank power. Kamui offers a bright, humble smile in return. Hinata just looks on, completely captivated by her skill. But the rustling of the trees signals more are on the way. Cheyion roars, declaring she won't be outdone by her new rival. Another monster charges forward, a blur of fur and fury. Cheyion leaps into the air, ready to meet the attack. She brings her weapon down with a determined, focused grin. A flurry of powerful strikes overwhelms the creature. Her weapon extends, a chain shooting out to ensnare her foe. Hinata is shocked, recognizing the unique magic weapon. Cheyion explains it's a special tool forged from monster materials. The chain wraps around the beast, stopping it in its tracks. With a powerful tug, she slams it into the ground. She warns them that more are coming, and she's not wrong. Hinata is left completely overwhelmed by the chaos. He's just here for moral support, apparently. Kamui's gaze is sharp, her power on full display. Cheyion is a whirlwind of motion, dispatching monsters with ease. Hinata realizes his party members are so strong he can't do a thing. He looks to the sky, wondering if he even belongs here. Kamui is left completely speechless by his uselessness. He just stands there, announcing his one useful skill, monster dismantling. Cheyion teases Kamui, saying there are some things in the world he just can't lose to. Hinata can only wonder what in the world they're even talking about. He watches them from afar, wondering if he can be of any use to them at all. For now, his only roles are dismantling monsters and carrying the loot. The party's official pack mule, but his experience earns him a new skill, floor exploration. Suddenly, a massive grid-like dome materializes over the entire forest. Hinata stares in shock, realizing he can see the dungeon's entire structure. His new skill reveals the locations of every monster and treasure chest. He excitedly points them out, finally able to contribute to the team. The girls can only stare, completely stunned by his sudden revelation. He leads them to a hidden teleporter, which activates at their approach. They've found it, the entrance to the real boss room. With his new skill, they can even see the hidden paths. Cheyion is ready to go. They venture deeper, following his lead into the unknown. Cheyion calls out his name, a look of surprise on her face. Kamui stammers, trying to get his attention. She asks if she can be the one to face this boss alone. With a determined look, she declares she wants to test her training. Hinata and Cheyion are completely taken aback by her request. He asks if she means her ice god's protection, a power she's never used in a fight. He realizes she wants to wield the very power that has tormented her for years. Her gaze is firm, confirming her resolve to face this challenge. He agrees, but warns her not to push herself too hard. And so Kamui stands alone before the massive, menacing wolf. She grips her blade, her friends watching from a safe distance. Hinata and Cheyion can only offer their support from the sidelines. She takes a deep, steadying breath, her focus absolute. She plants her feet as a wave of ice begins to spread from her boots. A wave of pure power begins to build around her. She declares her intent to finally conquer this curse, to master the ice god's protection once and for all. She knows a single lapse in focus could be disastrous. But Hinata is there, offering his full, unwavering support. He vows to respect her decision no matter the outcome. She knows she's stronger now than she's ever been. And it's all because Hinata was there to help her. With a single step, she unleashes her full power. Hinata can only watch, stunned by her sudden resolve. She charges forward, ready to face the massive beast. For the first time, she can truly face her own power. The wolf unleashes a torrent of searing hot flames, but Kamui stands her ground, meeting the fire with ice. A wall of frost erupts from the ground to meet the attack. She prepares the second form of the Kamui sword style. The beast roars, completely unaware of what's coming. With a single decisive flash, she cuts through the flames. Her attack carves a path of absolute zero through the cavern. The blade connects, freezing the beast on impact. The ice spreads, encasing the monster in a frozen tomb. Her blade is clean, the battle already decided. The wolf is left completely frozen, a monument to her power. The entire boss room is now a winter wonderland, a very deadly one. Kamui pants, the effort clearly taking its toll. Hinata is left completely speechless by the display. Cheyion notes the incredible cold radiating from the cavern. She realizes this is the true, terrifying power of an S rank. Our boy, meanwhile, is just trying to process what he saw. The battle is over, leaving only a quiet, frozen silence. Hinata steps forward, calling out her name in the frozen silence. His expression is a mix of awe and genuine concern. He reaches out, as if trying to pull her back from the brink. She can only whisper his name, her voice barely audible. She asks if he's disgusted by her power, a fear she's long held. The question leaves him completely and utterly stunned. She turns away, unable to face his potential rejection. But his shock quickly turns into a fierce resolve. He remembers his promise to protect her no matter what. A promise he intends to keep, right here and now. Without a word, he pulls her into a sudden, firm embrace. He tells her he could never, ever be disgusted by her. His words are all the reassurance she needs. He knows this power could be dangerous to others, and he vows that he will be the one to protect them. A familiar energy begins to gather in his hand. He declares he can finally use this power for her sake. A confident smile spreads across his face. This kid's power-ups are getting out of hand. Kamui can only look on, completely taken aback. He unleashes his absolute ice fusion skill once again. He promises to melt this cursed world of ice for her. He tells her the real her isn't cold at all. He wants her to look forward, without any hesitation, because he promises he'll always be there to support her. Her hand tightens on his arm, her mark glowing faintly. With tears in her eyes, she offers a radiant, heartfelt smile. With the boss defeated, their dungeon run comes to an end. But Cheyion immediately breaks the mood, vowing to protect Kamui. She then scolds her for not using his first name. Priorities, I guess. And our boy can only scream, caught in the crossfire once again. Hinata's brain short-circuits, wishing he could erase his own memory. Kamui steps in front of Cheyion, declaring she'll be the one to protect him. Our boy can only wonder if this is some new, advanced form of bullying. Cheyion grabs him, complaining that she wants to be protected too. She looks up with teary eyes, asking if he's just going to leave her defenseless. He just pokes her on the forehead, telling her to stop messing with him. Cheyion looks around, wondering how he found the boss room so easily. She asks if he can sense it, but then dismisses it, saying she just found it by sound. A likely story. She explains the potion they found is an incredibly rare and valuable drop. Hinata asks if they don't have the floor exploration skill. The two S ranks can only stare back, completely and utterly speechless. He's left wondering what a skill even is to them. Their quest for answers leads them back to the Kamui estate. The old man Jizu smiles, noting that things have gotten interesting. Hinata explains he came here hoping the old man knew something about skills. Jizu agrees to talk, but only for the sake of his cute grandchild. He reveals that long ago there were people who researched the nature of skills, but he quickly adds that's all he's willing to share. Hinata is confused, sure the old man was about to say more. Jizu then brings up marrying Kamui again, much to their shock. This guy has a one-track mind. The girls try to reason with their uncle, but he's not listening. He explains that information on skills is a matter of national security. But if Hinata were to become part of the family, the rules might change. Hinata looks down, realizing he's been given a very specific choice. And with that, the old man declares the conversation is over. The next day, life at the academy continues as usual. Back in his room, Hinata holds a pen with a determined smile. He's been farming Dungeon E90 every day, amassing a small fortune in potions. He sits alone, reflecting on his first rare drop with a quiet satisfaction. But his quiet moment is about to be interrupted by an unseen visitor. It's Fuji, looking like he's just gone 10 rounds with a dungeon boss. He calls out to Hinata, noting his friend looks equally worn out. But Fuji proudly announces he's cleared a D-rank dungeon. Hinata is stunned, realizing his friend is already tackling C-rank. Fuji laughs it off, admitting he was just support for a stronger team. But his words give Hinata a sudden brilliant idea. He invites his friend over and offer Fuji happily accepts. Later that day, Hinata prepares for his guest's arrival. He carefully prepares 2 cups of tea for their meeting, and adds a single drop of his special restorative potion, a secret ingredient to help his friend recover from the battle. A special blend he learned from his mother. Minus the magic, probably. A sudden knock at the door signals his friend has arrived. He opens the door with a bright, welcoming smile. Fuji enters bringing snacks as a thank you. They sit together, a quiet moment between 2 aspiring explorers. Fuji is amazed as the tea completely washes away his exhaustion. He asks why Hinata is so concerned about his next dungeon run. Hinata just smiles, telling him not to overdo it. The simple act of kindness leaves Fuji completely stunned. A quiet, grateful smile spreads across his face. He takes another sip, offering a quiet, sincere thank you. But now Fuji admits he's the one who's worried about Hinata. The next day arrives, a quiet Saturday at the academy. Hinata gets ready, a new plan already in motion. He picks up his phone, a message waiting for him. His expression shifts to one of complete and utter shock. It's a message from his sister, the first in a long time. A familiar, determined smile crosses his face. She notes that 3 weeks have already passed since he left. He remembers his sister's bright, carefree smile, a memory that fuels his quiet, determined expression. He prepares to make a call he's been putting off for weeks. His expression is grim, knowing this won't be easy. With a single press, he initiates the transfer. He knows he can't move forward if she sees his struggle. With his decision made, he prepares to leave his room. He recalls how she just cried when he left for the academy. He knew even then that his wise sister saw right through him. She felt like a burden, wishing she could support him instead. But now, he takes a firm, decisive step forward. His resolve is absolute. He has to get stronger. He remembers his mother comforting her. A quiet, painful memory. A fire burns in his eyes, a promise to them both. Because everything he does is for the sake of his family.